Hey guys, welcome back. It's Chris. Today we're going to be talking about some general success things that you can start implementing within your own business, your own team, your own life, whether it's relationships, whatever it is, in order to basically increase your chances at becoming successful. So a lot of people ask me what's the number one trait when it comes to becoming successful. What's so basically undeniable that will make you successful? Well, the truth is that I think there are so many different ones that accumulate, but probably arguably one of the most important traits is the ability to associate success with delayed gratification. That's the fact. Being able to put off what you want most in order to achieve the thing that you want later on. And that's it. It's not intelligence. It's not really anything else. It's the ability to understand that delayed gratification is the key towards becoming successful. Because chances are, no matter what, you're never going to become successful overnight. And in fact, the cases where you do become successful overnight, it's from such a delayed gratification. It's from putting in these excessive amounts of work, these incredible amounts of work, and they compound it over a period of time. And that is how you end up becoming successful. No matter what industry you look in, I understand that there's obviously going to be outliers, but that's not what you want to base a general rule around. The general rule is that you have to give up what it is that you want most in order to have an abundance of it later. That's how it is. The person who sacrifices the most, the person who understands the difference between instant versus gratification, is the individual who's probably going to experience success. So first let's understand, because gratification, I know the first time that I heard it, an instant versus delayed, I didn't really completely understand. So if this is the first time you're hearing this concept, then I'm going to explain it just really quickly. So many times we work in basically jobs. So instant gratification is where you put in work, you instantly get paid. You put in work, you instantly get paid. You get gratification for instantly, no matter what, straight away. So whatever it is that you do, straight away you get a reward for it. Delayed gratification is where you basically put an amount of work in, regardless of what it is, and over an extended period of time, definitely not straight away, you will get a return on that investment. So it's the difference between basically investing and just straight up trading. And so many people don't understand that concept because it's not something that you're taught in schools. I definitely didn't get taught it. My parents definitely didn't get taught it. There are a lot of different ways that it's explained to me, and I understood it when it was further explained. But essentially, it's being able to invest either time or money or work or whatever it is, going through making the sacrifices necessary in hopes on a greater return longer down the track. And that is the undeniable key towards being successful. Now, there are so many different examples of it. For example, if you might have to sacrifice being in a relationship in order to basically prioritize your work. You need to be able to sacrifice the things that you love so much. Say if you enjoy sports, if you enjoy video games, if you enjoy partying, you enjoy drinking, you have to give that up for an extended period of time in order to basically experience, depending on the success. But let's relate it to specifically money. Let's relate it to money. So the person that's obviously going to make the most is the individual that's the most disciplined. And discipline is such a incredibly important part of delayed gratification because it's not easy. The whole point of delayed gratification is that there is no recognition, there is no feeling good, there is no good times when it comes to the sacrifices that you initially put in. It can go months, it can go years, it can go decades before you get a massive return on your investment. And the whole idea behind delayed gratification is that you live a few years that most people won't, to live the rest of your life that other people can't. Whether that's lifestyle, whether that's money, whether it's doing all the things that you gave up in the initial first place in order to enjoy the luxuries at the end. And it's tough. It's not easy. I know. So I'm going through it at the moment. There's so many sacrifices. There's so much more things that I would love to be doing, but I understand that more is more. More is more. If the more sacrifices you make, the more rewards that you're going to get. The more indulgence that you make, the less rewards that you're going to get. If you can understand that simple equation, then you need to start thinking about where it is that you're investing your time. So many people think that they need to feel good constantly in order to become successful, when the truth is it's years upon years upon years or months upon months of not feeling the best, not getting that recognition. You're not going to feel great about the mundane work. Let's just relate it to degrees. I think that's really applicable because so many people understand that. If you want to get an A+ in math, you have to suffer the sacrifice of your time literally doing mundane work at home. You have to sacrifice the time that you'd be spending with your friends. You have to sacrifice the time that you'd be spending doing anything other than this work in order to basically make sure that you put the things in steps in order to get an A+. That's how it works. I constantly talk about how in order to get an OP1, you don't actually need to be highly intelligent. It just helps. What really happens is the person who's willing to put in enough study at home. If you had to have if I had to give someone a constant and a consistent equation towards getting an OP1. This is in Australia, of course. So an OP1, if you're in a different country, is just the highest distinction whenever it comes to going towards university or applying for a college for you guys. Is that it just takes an extended amount of effort at home, doing the mundane tasks, doing the stuff that no one wants to do. And that's the same process when it comes to success. If you're starting a business, you have to do the mundane work of understanding the books, understanding where your team could be better, where staff could be put, understanding, changing the processes, and then also working on yourself, whereas you can be in order to make sure these tasks, and it's not easy, it's tough. In fact, if it was so easy, everyone would do it, because the truth is, it's so much easier to just work a couple of hours a week and get paid, and then there's nothing more than that. But that's why not many people do it. That's why so many people get caught in that instant gratification cycle. You end up becoming an instant gratification monkey. Especially nowadays, you upload a photo, people like it, people comment, you feel good, you want to do it again, and so on and so on and so on and so on. And we live in such a narcissistic society that involves you need instant recognition for everything that you do. In fact, I always talk about how the number one thing that people are deprived for their job, it's not income, it's recognition. And that's the whole idea of delayed gratification, is it's delayed everything, whether it's recognition, it's happiness, rewards, no matter what. And the thing is, the idea of that is that the more that you sacrifice, the more that you delay, the more that you get in abundance. Because the thing about delayed gratification, it's exponential. It's not linear. It's always going, it's like investments. If you put in $10, hopefully you'll get out 30. It's not directly correlated like at a job, how you put in 1 hour, you get that much back. It's exponential whenever it comes to delayed gratification. You have to think about it like a farmer. A farmer doesn't have to feel good all the time. Do you think he's just sitting at his table and he's sipping tea, and then all of a sudden he's like, I feel the burn, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to farm? No, because if he did that, he would never farm. He would farm every so often, not enough in order to make an income to support his family. And so you need to understand that's the same way that you need to be about your stuff. You need to understand that this is the result that you're looking towards achieving. A farmer just goes out and he sows the seeds, he puts them in the ground. He cultivates them, he waits for them to grow, he gives nourishment, he gives care, and then eventually, at the end of 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, depending on what he's growing, he gets a return on the investment that he puts in. And that's the same thing with you. That's the exact same process of delayed gratification. The difference is that a farmer knows that he's going to get something back. Where with you, you're not sure. And the facts are is that you won't know until you get the results back. The farmer's ideology is that he's going to put in this work and he's going to get a return from the investment. But the truth is he doesn't actually know that for a fact, but he believes it because anything could happen to those crops. A hurricane could hit, a cyclone could hit, droughts could happen. But the thing is he still does the work. Why? Because he believes in the system. He believes in the system that he set up for himself. And the system is, if you want to experience a large amount of income, if you want to experience anything that's exponential, whether it's an abundance of lifestyle, family time, being in control of your own income, ownership of your time, you have to give up a multitude of things, and that being your time. Entertainment. I mean, it's going to be tough. Happiness. If you're constantly looking for the things that make you happy, eventually that's going to bite you back. Because eventually, no matter what, humans work by stimulation. And the more that we experience certain things, the less stimulated we become by it. So we're constantly looking towards amping up the ante in order to become more stimulated by it. And if you're constantly looking towards just doing more and more exhilarating thing, eventually it's going to be mundane. And you're going to be like, okay, well now I want time for the things that matter. Time for my family, time for my kids, the money to put them through an education. I don't want to be stressed out by bills. Well, the key towards becoming less stressed out by bills and finances is by literally, it's going to sound absurd, but putting yourself through more stress. That's the key. If you are over feeling uncomfortable, the way to get out of that discomfort is by putting yourself through more discomfort, but just in a different aspect. Just in a different area. I'm talking about your work. If you want to make more money, you have to put yourself through more discomfort, but working the right ways. And that's the same way, going back to that farmer, is that you don't need to feel good about anything. And it's tough, and it's not easy. And it's really harsh, but no one told me this. This is something that I had to learn through reading books. It wasn't something that they're just like, hey guys, if you want to make a lot of money, if you want to be successful, if you want to have ownership of your time, chasing passion, chasing happiness, it's not the way that you're going to get there. And it's unfortunate. It's really tough. And what I suggest people doing is, so many people, especially when they're young, they get so caught up in making sure that they're moving into the same industry that they're going to be passionate about, moving into the same industry that they're going to love, when the truth is, loving what you do comes from being competent at a certain skill. That's the facts. The facts is that, because think about it. Do you think a caveman has all these sudden urges to be a beauty therapist, or these sudden urges to be an actor, or these sudden urges to be a musician? No, those things didn't exist then. So they obviously stemmed from our psychology. And the truth is, when we learn to love, that the things that we do and that whole passion idea, it really comes from craftsmanship. So I suggest people, they adopt a craftsmanship mentality, especially whenever they go into a skill. If they want to experience the things of loving what it is that they do, they need to become a rare and valuable skill. So they basically break it down to, there are 3 things that make you feel that way. So the first one is creativity, the next one is control and impact. Those are the 3 things. If you can achieve all 3 of those things in a job or a career or your work, you will experience the ability to learn what it is to love. Like, love what it is that you're doing. You don't feel like you're actually working. And I'll break that down a little bit further. Basically, you're creative. So the creative urges, stimulation, they're there. Right? So that's essentially, you're constantly looking towards expanding your brain every single day. The second one is control. So you have creative control as well. So you have a control of your own ownership of your time, what it is that you want to be working on, the projects that you want to be doing. And finally, impact. Is the work you're doing impacting yourself, your loved ones, your co-workers, or your customers? Okay, and now, how is it that you look towards achieving that? Well, the only way to achieve that luxury is through having a rare and valuable skill. That's the facts. That's the only way that you achieve that luxury. So how you have to develop that is through hard work. You have to put in an extended amount of hard work. For example, no matter what, you're going to become a master at something. Your time is going to be spent 10,000 hours. They reckon it's 10,000 hours before you become incredibly competent at a skill. So this competency reflects a rare and valuable skill. So it's about, where are you putting this time? Because no matter what, you're going to become a master at something. Whether it's drinking alcohol, whether it's having fun, whether it's a sport, an athlete, no matter what, you're going to become a master at something. So where is it that your time is going? And understanding this concept means that that's how you're going to develop this loving what it is that you do. Because the truth is that the people who are in these industries, they just have those 3 aspects of a job. So the goal should just be able to achieve that aspect of a job or that career. And the way that you get there, it's not by instantly just working an hourly rate. It's not by, you might be able to work your way up in the corporate ladder and so on and so on and so on, but for the most part, especially here in Australia, a lot of jobs don't give that opportunity, especially for the majority. So the way that you get there is by developing a skill, a rare and valuable skill, in order to basically have those rare and valuable work traits. And then in order to achieve that, you have to make sacrifices. You have to make sure that your time spent, where it's going, is going into these skills that are developing towards achieving these things that you can talk about. So that control, creativity, and impact. Those are the things that you should be chasing. Now, the biggest misconception is that you don't actually have to have that in a job. You don't even have to have that in a career. You don't even have to have that in a business. You can just have that in your life. And that's the key towards becoming a fruitful life. Do you have creative control over your life? Okay? Do you have control over your life? Do you have creativity? So are you creatively fulfilled? Whether that's going to the mountains in Malaysia, or whether that's climbing Mount Everest whenever you feel like. Are you creatively fulfilled? Do you have control? So is someone else controlling your time? No, you are controlling. You have ownership of your income. And then on top of that, you have impact. So you can impact your friends, your family, whatever it is that you want around you. Those are the 3 things that make people fulfilled as a standpoint, about 80% of the time. Now, so many people think that you need to achieve that through a job, through a business or a career, when in truth, you should be looking to achieve that in your life. And in order to achieve that in your life, there's so many different ways that you can go about it. There's passive income streams, investments, and stuff like that I highly suggest you going into. But the truth is that it's experiencing those 3 within your life is what should be the goal, in my opinion. You should look towards achieving those 3 things within your life. And in order to basically go about doing that, you need to understand the difference between instant gratification and delayed gratification. Anyone who's become an incredible professional, a high masterclass person in any field, whether it's Gordon Ramsay in cooking, whether it's you name any billionaire, whether it's anyone who's created their own worth from celebrity status to athletes, okay, they've invested an extended amount of time developing a skill. If you're a basketball player and playing in the NBA, that's what you've done. If you're Gordon Ramsay or you're a top chef, you've done that in cooking. If you're Leonardo DiCaprio, you've done that in acting. And so if they've done it in these fields that are basically idolized, so many people think that their formula is all luck, when in truth, they've created their own luck by developing their rare and valuable skill. Until it comes to the point that it's undeniable that they need to achieve these certain things. Impact can be anything from money. You have enough money to impact your life and everyone else's life around you. That's fulfilling. If you worked a job that gave you $1 million a day, you would be able to utilize that money to impact whatever it is that you wanted. That would be fulfilling. So it's experiencing that in your life that also lets you implement it in others, and so on and so on and so on. So that's what we realistically should be looking towards achieving. And that's the key to what's getting there. It's putting off the thing that you want most, like on the short term, in order to achieve it in abundance later on. I think that if you love partying, I think that if you love being social, you're going to have to give up majority of that in order to experience an abundance of later. And no matter what, you're going to learn the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. How many people have you spoken to across your life that you hear those people who are like, oh, I had this awesome business opportunity, but I wasn't able to do it because of my kids, or I wasn't able to do it because of this, or because of my marriage, and so on and so on and so on. Well, the truth is, you need to stop taking those excuses for yourself, because no matter what, you're 3 years away of commitment in order to becoming a millionaire. Those are the facts. Anyone can make $1 million in 3 years. That's pretty reasonable. It's not easy, but it's reasonable. So the way that you're going to look towards achieving that is by putting off these personal things, cut aside your circumstances, the excuses that you make for yourself, put yourself in a position where you can actually start looking towards achieving this. Because the difference between a 20-year-old who's just graduated school and the difference between a 50-year-old is just 30 years. There might be other commitments that they have, but they definitely doesn't mean that they can't put them off in order to make sure that they achieve the things that they want. So it's about stopping making these excuses for yourself. And that might just very well be the thing that's holding you back. But understanding that you have to take away these excuses, understand that hard work is a consistent thing, discipline, motivation, I talk about how motivation is nothing. Motivation comes and goes. Motivation is a great thing to utilize to develop a habit, but it's a terrible thing to rely on. Because the truth is, how many times if you've ever gone to the gym or you've ever picked up a new skill, how many times have you felt good about doing it after doing it for a year? Not often. Not often. So why is it that you're relying on it in order to basically determine your future? Well, that's what so many people get caught in this rut, this thing where they just want to do things when they feel good. When the truth is that we're humans, we're bipolar. We feel good on random occasions. And if you only act on when you feel good, majority of the time you're probably not. And on top of that, you might end up getting you into some bad habits. Which brings me to my next point of habits. Delayed gratification is really just understanding what discipline and creating habits. That's the truth. The person who suffers the pain of discipline won't suffer the pain of regret, and vice versa. So what are your daily habits? Because your daily habits are going to determine your future. Just like how a farmer's daily habit is planting the seeds, watering his crops, making sure that he's utilizing the pesticides. He doesn't have to feel good about these things, but he understands that it gives him the results that he wants. So understanding your daily habits, I think that if you're investing a lot of time into entertainment, if you're investing a lot of time into social settings, whether it's drinking and stuff like that, I think that you're probably wasting a lot of your time in terms of money. Now, if all you care about is short-term happiness, keep doing that. If all you care about is short-term happiness, keep doing it. Because don't get me wrong, I love being social. I love being out there. I love doing the fun things that everyone else does. But I understand that there is a reason why you can't do that past 25, or so few people do that past 25. Because eventually you need to grow up. And eventually it becomes sad. But all of a sudden, if you're 35 doing it in Ibiza, it's cool again. So that's what I'm talking about, how it's these certain settings society sees it as okay. But the reason that you get there is by developing your delayed gratification. Why is it that all these celebrities like Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt, they're able to drink at their age and go to these social settings? It's because they've sowed the seeds of hard work and they've put it in to where it's socially acceptable. And that's the facts, is that because they've been set up financially, because they've set up their lifestyle, they've paid the price of discipline, they're able to live the fruits of their labor. That's just how it sort of works. No matter what, you're going to get a return of your investment of whatever time that you put in. So I'd always talk to people about success is really just doing the right things every single day. Accumulatively, eventually you will hit a level of success. That's just the truth. Now, first of all, you need to understand what are your bad habits. Now, I describe bad habits are just time spent that is not getting you closer or is productive towards your goal. Your medium to long-term goal, your short-term, medium, or long-term goal. So if your short-term goal is working on your marriage and your time is spent at the pub, that's detrimental to your goal. You're being unproductive toward your goal. You need to change that. But if your long-term goal is freedom, being able to have ownership of your time, and I'm talking about long-term, genuine success where you literally can do whatever it is that you want. I'm talking about a 7-figure level of income per year and so on and so on and so on. Then, if that's the goal, then you need to start being a little bit harder on yourself. Are you watching entertainment? Are you sleeping in? All of this time is being spent somewhere. I always talk to people about, if you truly view time as a commodity, if you truly view time as the most valuable commodity, then that means no matter what you're spending it. And it's an interesting one. Because you can get cash out of your bank account, you can put it on a table, and it might fluctuate in value, but for the most part, it's not doing anything. It's sitting there and it's not doing anything. The thing about your time is it's a commodity that's always being spent. it's always going. It's going towards something. Now, if I gave you $1 million on your table and I said, hey, this is your commodity, and $100,000 were going every week, would you be concerned? Would you be like, where's my money going? Well, the truth is, that's what's happening with your time. Every single second, every single minute, every single hour, every single day. And if you break it down towards that, you need to understand that your money is being invested into something. No matter what, your money is being invested into something. Whether you're watching YouTube, whether you're watching entertainment, whether you're scrolling on Facebook, whether you're out of the clubs, whatever it is, it's being investment. And the thing about investments is that you will always get a return. It's either going to be a negative one or a positive one. It's never neutral, especially when it comes to your time. So you need to understand that what is your time going towards? Because success, true success, so many people think success is just this pinnacle ultimatum moment where boom, you're a millionaire, boom, you're a billionaire. When the truth is, it's a bunch of insignificant correct decisions every single day that eventually build up towards success. And so in itself, these small, insignificant decisions are the truly significant ones. If it is something like reading 15 minutes a day, if it is something, if you're in the fitness world, if it is something like training 2 hours a day, those small, insignificant things that so many people take for granted or don't think anything of, those are the things that attribute towards your success. And if so, in reality, those small, insignificant tasks, those small, insignificant investments of your time is what literally equals your success, then you should certainly value it a lot more. So you need to understand, what is it that you're going into? If reading 15 minutes a day, it's not going to make a difference tomorrow. But if you read 15 minutes of a book, of a self-help book, every single day for a year, you will come out a completely different person. And that's exponential. Eating healthy one day is not going to make too much a difference. But doing it across 3 years, it's going to make a huge difference. You might be, depending on whatever it is you're healthy, you might be living an extra 20 years because of it. Smoking one cigarette is not going to make a giant difference. Smoking one cigarette every single day for 20 years, that might cause a huge detrimental difference. And understanding that concept that so many people attribute it to health, but the truth is it's towards your success, your health of success. If you're investing your time with the wrong people, I'm talking about people who are bringing you down, people who are in negative environments, you're going to become a negative person. You are the average of the 5 people that you hang around. If you hang around 4 homeless people, you will become the 5th. If you hang around 4 millionaires, you will become the 5th. And that's the key towards success, hanging around with the right people. Understanding that you need to delay your gratification. You do not need recognition every single day in order to feel good. But if you do it long enough, if you sacrifice all the things that you want most, all the things that make you incredibly happy, all those types of things for an extended period of time, anywhere between 3 to 5 years, you will become successful by the end of it and live in abundance. If I told you that you could live 3 years and it's not going to feel good, you're not going to feel the best, it's not going to be the happiest times, it might be even the hardest times that you've ever lived. But then you can live 50 years for the rest of your life doing whatever you want. And it was a guarantee. Who wouldn't take that opportunity? Well, that's the truth. That's the truth. You just have to commit to the mundane, commit to the things that you don't want to do until you become successful. And that's all it's going to take. That's the consistent thing. NFL players, they do 2 a days plus a game. NBA players do 2 a days plus a game. There's so many successful examples of athletes and celebrities who are doing all of these things that you don't even have to attribute it to business, because the truth is business is closed, it's behind closed doors, so you might not be able to see it unless you read a book. But there are so many examples of successful people who are doing this hardship in front of you. And yet all you see is the lavish lifestyle, but you don't see the hard work. Cristiano Ronaldo, at 17, became an overnight millionaire. But he went on record saying it took 17 years and 189 days in order to become an overnight success. So if all of these celebrities understand it, what is it that's stopping you? Well, now you do know the secret. So what is it that you can do? What is it that you can do? Well, first of all, understand that the delayed gratification is failure. There is nothing that you can go into where you can become a professional without experiencing failure. That's the truth. So understand that failure isn't the opposite of success. Failure is the journey towards success. The more failure you experience, that is the key towards becoming successful. So you want to double your rate of discomfort, double your rate of failure, and you'll double the rate at which you will attain success. So understand that that is a part of the journey. All right? That's the first thing that I want you to understand. That's your delayed gratification. Putting yourself towards discomfort. Because in comfortable scenarios, you're not learning. That's the facts. Every single time, since you were a baby, falling over is not comfortable, but you keep getting up and you keep doing it. And you become discomfortable. You get over the discomfort until it becomes comfortable, and then you become okay with it, and then you experience success. If babies can understand that, then you can understand that as well. But what is it that you can do right now to put yourself towards a better successful situation? Well, I suggest invest in yourself. Always start there. Watching this YouTube video is an example of that, but reading books, talking to mentorships, plugging yourself into people who will make you feel better, who will make you better in terms of what you're looking towards achieving, that is the first thing that you can do towards becoming successful. If you have, if you don't have $100,000 in the bank, look towards investing in developing yourself. Don't invest your money in anything else other than yourself if you have less than $100,000 in your bank account. That is the first, most fundamental place that you can start, because the number one return on investment is first putting it towards yourself. And I'm talking about the time that you're being spent. If you're spending so much time at the club, maybe it's a time to take a step back and understand that you need to start reevaluating where it is that you're putting your most valuable investment, your time. So the first thing that I want you to do is commit to 15 minutes a day of personal development. Whether it's reading a book, whether it's watching something on YouTube that's dedicated towards developing yourself, your mindset, your skill set, your character. And that is the first step towards becoming successful. Anyways, guys, so everybody start doing that. The second you click off this video, depending on what time of the day is, there's actually nothing that's stopping you, but look towards committing to a certain level of personal development. That's the first thing that you can do towards putting yourself in a better position for success. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next one.